Okay, welcome to Bible Christians of God. On the feast tonight, we're going to get ready to open up and face Jerusalem and open up with the Psalms and then get into the reason why we're here this night. Psalms 119th chapter. Sorry, 120th chapter. Verse 1. In my distress, I cried unto the Lord.
I cried unto the Lord,
And he heard me.
and he heard me.
Deliver my soul.
Deliver my soul,
O Lord,
O Lord,
from lying lips,
from lying lips,
and from a deceitful tongue.
and from a deceitful tongue.
What shall be given unto thee?
What shall be given unto thee?
Or what shall be done unto thee?
Or what shall be done unto thee?
Thou false tongue.
Thou false tongue.
Sharp arrows
Sharp arrows
of the mighty
of the mighty,
with coals of juniper.
because of Jennifer.
Woe is me
Woe is me,
that I sojourn in Meshach,
that I sojourn in Meshach,
that I dwell in the tents of Kedar.
that I turn the tents of Kedar.
My soul
My soul,
alone dwelt with him
alone dwelt with him,
that hateth peace.
that hated peace.
I am for peace,
I am for peace.
but when I speak,
When I speak,
they are for war.
they are for war.
I read Psalms 120 chapter. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Again, welcome to the Bible Christians of God. Observing the feast, the last night of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's the last night of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Yeah, you take the echo. Take it off. This is the second night, the last night of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now, 7 days ago, we observed the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And each day is important, very important, y'all. You know, it's all called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. What I want to point out is that this feast and each of the Lord's feasts have a significant meaning. Each one of them means something, y'all. The Passover, the Sabbath day rather, represent when the Lord's going to come back and rest. The Passover represents the blood that we have to come under. The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread represents being delivered out of Egypt and receiving the doctrine of God that is unleavened. But this last night, which is unique among all the Lord's feasts, the fact of the matter is this is the only feast that is a repeat. In other words, the Lord had the same, both of us, all these days are both unleavened bread, but there's a first day and a last day for a reason. And I'm going to show you that the reason why it's like that is because what the Lord did when he brought us, our forefathers, out of Egypt the first time, he's going to do it again. This is a repeat. He doesn't do a repeat with the memorial blowing of the trumpet, and then he doesn't do a repeat with the Day of Atonement. There's 7 days of the Feast of Tabernacles, and it's the 8th day. But only the only this feast, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, is a 2-day feast, a first day and a last day. Now we're going to go and start on Leviticus 23 and read this. Leviticus 23 and verse 1. Because I'm going to show you the reason why the Lord had this day repeated, a first day and a last day. Because guess what? God changed not. And he knew when he brought Israel out of Egypt the first time, he's going to have to bring Israel out of Egypt again. But this time it's going to be on a global level. And I'm going to show you how everything is a repeat, except for the Lord used the country or the nation or the land of Egypt as a small microcosm of what he's going to do to the world. That's all he's doing. He's repeating. That's why the book says, I'm God, Lord God, I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Because the Lord knew the day he brought Israel out of Egypt, I'm going to have to bring Israel out of Egypt again. That's why he's omnipotent. He knows the beginning from the end. That's why this feast is significant in that it repeats itself, because God's going to do that. And watch this now. Let's go to Leviticus 23 and verse 1. I always have to start out here because the Sabbath day is important to understand. But as we go down through the feast, and we just passed the Passover, we're in the last day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Leviticus 23 and verse 1 says, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Now I've elaborated on this already, but it only means holy gatherings. Then he goes into the weekly Sabbath in verse 3. But we're going to skip down to verse 4, and it sounds like the Lord is repeating himself. But he's talking about his annual feast. He reads, these are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations which you shall proclaim in their seasons. Now notice, verse 5. It says, in the 4th day of the 1st month at even is the Passover. Now, what makes this unique is that you can only hold this in the evening. Out of all the feasts, you can hold the Feast of Unleavened Bread in the daytime. You can have the trumpet in the daytime. You can do the Day of Atonement in the daytime. You can do the Feast of Tabernacles in the daytime. You can do the 8th day in the daytime. But guess what? You can only do the Passover at night, period. Ain't no, well, you know, I got to work tonight. You better get the Passover. You better get this blood on you because it means deliverance and salvation. So, now to the feast that we are on. Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. Now this is the 7th day. So this is the last day that we eat unleavened bread. But he counted the eating of unleavened bread for the 15th day. Verse 7. In the 1st day ye shall have unholy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days. And the 7th day is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. That means you don't work for pay on this day. So when the sun rises tomorrow, you shouldn't be going to work. That's all servile for pay. That's all that servile work means. But notice, it says on the 1st day and on the 7th day. It's all about the Feast of Unleavened Bread, though. Now let's go to Numbers 33 in verse 1. Because it's significant that we understand that this indeed was part of the deliverance of Israel. This whole feast is about deliverance. Because after the Lord saved Israel under the blood, he had to take Israel out of Egypt. And that's what the Feast of Unleavened Bread represents. Not only are you putting out leaven, but he also took Israel out of Egypt, out of bondage. So Numbers 33 and verse 1. And see, as we went through this Feast of Unleavened Bread, and you got rid of the leaven out of your house and out of your mind, that's what you're supposed to be doing too, you notice that the world all around you is full of leaven and wickedness and in bondage. You're supposed to represent those that have come and been delivered out of the house of bondage, out of the house of Egypt. And I'm going to show you that we right now are living in spiritual Egypt, which means the deliverance again has to occur for Israel. But we're going to find out who came up with Israel when the Lord delivered Israel the first time. And it's going to be the same thing when he do it again. So Numbers 33 and verse 1 says, these are the journeys of the children of Israel, which went forth out of the land of Egypt, with their armies under the hand of Moses and Aaron. And Moses wrote their goings out according to their journeys by the commandment of the Lord. And these are the journeys according to their going out. So let's see when they went out. And they departed from Ramses in the 1st month, on the 15th day of the 1st month, on the morrow after the Passover, the children of Israel went out with a high hand in the sight of all the Egyptians, for the Egyptians buried all their firstborn, which the Lord had smitten among them. Upon their gods also the Lord executed judgments. Now, we see that the children of Israel left out of Egypt on the 15th day of the 1st month. But, like I said, we're going to look at how this thing repeats, y'all. So let's go to Exodus 12 and 37. Because in Exodus 12 and 37, the Lord made a point of showing you who all went up out of Egypt on the 15th day. And we're going to show you that what we finna read is going to happen again. That's why I hear people saying Israel, only Israelites going to be saved. Child, please, you do not understand the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now I got this poster right quick. I want to show you. Just to show you how we're in Egypt this day. And the deliverance got to come again. This right here If you look at it, this is on the back of a U.S. dollar. It's on the back of a U.S. dollar. Anybody that got a dollar in their pocket, you can take it out and look on the back. Why is there a pyramid on the back of a U.S. dollar? Because believe it or not, y'all, we're still in Egypt. That's why you must take the Passover if you want to be saved. That's the significance of Jesus being the Passover. Because he knew we would be back in Egypt again. And how did Israel get saved in Egypt? Under that Passover. You ain't got that blood over you, you're done. You're going to get took by the destroyer. So here in Exodus 12 and 37, watch this. And the children of Israel sojourned from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men besides children. We know when that occurred, on the 15th day of the first month. And notice, and a mixed multitude went up also with them. So it wasn't just physical Israel, it was everyone that obeyed and putting the blood up on their doorposts. That's why I got a problem when Israel said only Israelites going to be saved. No, this constitutes the spiritual Israel, which is a mixed multitude that went up with them out the first time we got saved out of Egypt. And it said, and very flocks and herds and very much cattle. Now it said, and they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any victuals. So now, I'm going to read verse 4. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. So when Moses came up, it was just that he came up in the last 10 years of that, because Moses was 40 years old when Israel got delivered out of Egypt. But the point I want to emphasize is that it was a mixed multitude that came up with Israel. Now let's go and look at an event that occurred in this deliverance, and I'm going to show you that it's going to repeat itself, y'all. I'm going to make sure I got that right. Let's go to Exodus 14 chapter. Because this event also occurred, and I'm going to show you it's going to repeat itself again. That's why there's 2 nights to the day of Feast on Unleavened Bread. It's not 2 nights to the Passover. It's not 2 nights for the trumpet or the atonement or the tabernacles. Tabernacles is a 7-day feast. But the unleavened bread is a repetitive, it repeats itself because what the Lord did to Israel before, He's going to do to Israel again. And Israel has a mixed multitude. And we just read that. So right here in Exodus 14 and verse, Exodus 14 and verse 10. Exodus 14 and verse 10. Now in this chapter shows how Pharaoh hardened his heart again. This time after Israel came out of Egypt, but he wanted to go and kill them while they was in the wilderness. And right here, the chase was on. The Egyptians were on their chariots. Matter of fact, let me show you how they all got set up, because the Lord's in control of everything, y'all. Verse 8. It reads, and the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with a high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them all the horses and the chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea, besides Pharaoh before Bezalel. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were sore afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Now you picture you out in the wilderness now, and this army coming to you with chariots. You know, Israel started panicking and looking like, dude, we trapped. And this is what it's going to say. And they said, Moses, because there was no graves in Egypt, hast thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Wherefore hast thou dealt with us to carry us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we did tell thee in Egypt, saying, let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it had been better for us to serve the Egyptians than we should die in the wilderness. Now this is how the servant of God stood up and said, Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Moses saw the army coming, but guess who he was trusting in? The Most High God, because he already seen the deliverance power and the wonders that he worked in with the Passover and having the firstborn slain in the land, and then bring Israel out. Now the Lord had Moses, or rather Moses' mind was set. Because he said, fear ye not, and stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. So he had the confidence in what the Most High was setting up. And watch what happens, y'all. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. But lift up thy rod and stretch out thy hand over the sea. I want y'all to remember that. Stretch your hand over the sea and divide it, and the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. The children of Israel went out on dry ground, and the Lord divided the sea during the Feast of Unleavened Bread, y'all. Now look, verse 21. Skipping down to 21. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on the right hand and on the left. Now that had to be in the sight to see, y'all. You walking through that ground, you seeing walls of water, you like, man, dude, they're walking right in the midst of the sea, y'all. So that had to be a sight to see, y'all. But watch this, y'all. We're going to keep reading, man. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass that in the morning watch, the Lord looked into the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavenly. So that the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. Now I did a piece in the manifestation of God to show you that they literally found these chariots underwater, y'all, for real. I'm going to post it up on my web. No, I do have it posted up on our website. Sorry, it is on our website. If you want to go look at it, this stuff actually happened. But the Lord going to do it again. I'm going to show you. We're going to read it, y'all. So now, verse 26. And it said, and the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength. When the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots, and the horsemen, and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. And there remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. No, it didn't say, and the Lord saved Israel in the mixed multitude. We read the mixed multitude came out with Israel. He said, thus the Lord saved Israel, which constitutes everybody that put their blood over their doorposts. That's who got saved. And the Lord looked at all of them as Israel. So thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Now here's what we're going to do, y'all. We're going to go to Isaiah 11 chapter. And we're going to see a repeat. We're going to see the Lord do something again. Isaiah 11 and verse 11. Because we are in spiritual Egypt, y'all. And I'm established that fact, but I'm going to show you, repeat what the Lord said he's going to do again. Isaiah 11 and we're going to get right to the point. Because we want to get to the food. Anyway, that's why we feasting for y'all. There's a reason why we eat here. Isaiah 11 and 11. And it says, it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. Notice, it said the what? The second time. to recover the remnant of his people. We're going to show you why he got to recover them, y'all. Which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. See, like we've been scattered to the whole world. This world represents captivity to us that believe the word of God and that come up under the blood. You know, you look around and you see Egypt. All these religions around, you be like, why they ain't doing that what that man said? Because that's Pharaoh standing right there. We'll show you that. That's why this religion got little pharaohs set up all around them so they keep you in bondage. But notice, here we go. Verse 13. And the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, but they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. Now this got everything to do with how we get to the wilderness, but that's another lesson. Well, here we go. And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind he shall shake his hand over the river. And that's what Moses had to do, put his hand over the rivers, and watch this, and shall smite, this time it says 7 streams, and make men to go over what? Dry shod. So instead of just doing it in that little strait over there near the Sinai Peninsula, we're going to do it global. This thing going to be across the globe. And notice, and there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria. Notice, like as it was to Israel in the day that they came up out of the land of what? Egypt. So just like the Lord brought them up on the 15th day, and all that went down, the Lord will do the same thing. We just read that, y'all. Now watch this, y'all. Let's go to Revelations 12th chapter. And show you Satan, remember. No, the Lord going to do that thing again. We're going to go to Revelations 12 and verse 11. There's a reason why this day is repeated. It's a repeat, y'all. But it's the last day, and it represents how the Lord going to deliver us out of Egypt in the last days, y'all. But Revelations 11 and I got verse 14. Notice. And to the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times, and a half of times from the face of the serpent. Now this is another lesson to show you emphatically to establish the fact that it's talking about 3.5 years, 1,260 days, 42 months, y'all. That's what this is talking about. Now notice. Now watch what the serpent does. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman. Now Pharaoh's army got hit with what? Water. Satan said, you know what? I'm going to hit your people with water. But watch this, y'all. As a flood after the woman, then he may cause her to be carried away of the flood. So Satan telling you, look, I'm going to do what God did to y'all. This time I'm going to do it to your people. Because he remember what God did when he brought us out of Egypt the first time. Now watch this. But here's what God is in control of the whole 1,000 yards. And the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. Now this flood actually symbolically represents people trying to overtake God's church. But we read earlier, the Lord going to split the seas across the 7 streams and cause us to go across dry shod. But Satan's going to send his people to try to swallow up his church. But the ones that don't make it, y'all, watch this. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Now you got some of Israel that ain't going to make it in there, even though they kept the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus. That's why you got to maintain tight business, because you might be one of these that the Lord got to purge. That's what's so frightening about this. You trying to like, Lord, I hope I'm trying to stay on my dime so I'm not a part. Look, you got something that keeps the commandments of God that ain't going to get in the wilderness, y'all. But look, we're going to drive on. Because here's what it all comes down to. 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. 1 Corinthians 5 and 7, y'all. 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. And this is what's going to keep you during this time that we're living in, and we're in spiritual Egypt. I'm going to show you. There's a few other things that establish the matter of the fact. Like I said, take out that dollar bill out your pocket and look on the back of it. That's why we got a period. That's why there's a pyramid on it. We are living in spiritual Egypt, y'all. But 1 Corinthians 5 and verse 7 tells us, purge out therefore the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, as you are unleavened, for even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us. Now we are unleavened because we're not partaker of all this puff stuff they get out here, all this religion, all these various denominations of religion. No, we are unleavened because we believe the word of God. And you can clearly see where everybody got the leaven. They add stuff to the book and want to take away from the book. So you see that all over the place. That's why I say that you may be a new lump as ye are unleavened. Now, Christ our Passover sacrificed for us. Now notice that because he sacrificed for us, therefore let us keep the feast. Now with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness. Now those that are keeping the feast are full of malice and wickedness, in one form, shape, or another. They got the leaven in them. That's why he said, therefore let us keep it, because we don't have leaven in us. Our doctrine is unleavened. Our Jesus is unleavened, y'all. Now notice, he said, but with the unleavened bread of what? Of sincerity and truth. This is what's going to get you in the wilderness. This is what's going to show you that you got to keep this feast, because when you're dealing with sincerity and truth, you're dealing with this book. Straight up. Everybody else is like, I got to be careful of the leaven, because there's a lot of leaven out here, y'all. Whole lot of leaven. But look, let's go to Deuteronomy 28:68 and show you the spiritual Egypt right quick that we in right now. So the Lord got to do it again. Now, the first time the Lord delivered us out of Egypt, we actually sang the Song of Moses. I'm going to show you that we're going to sing the Song of Moses again, but it's going to be with the Lamb. That's why those that come under the blood, they keeping the Passover, they deal with sincerity and truth. They're going to find themselves on the side of the Lamb and singing the Song of Moses. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. Now, this here is the black man's ID card. I call this chapter the ID card chapter. Because this in here don't apply. You got some of this apply to some people, a little bit apply to a couple of other people, but guess what? All of this apply to my forefathers. Trust me. Think about Roots, Amistad. You know, what's that movie they get out called Underground, right? Underground, yeah. Man, look. Then 12 years of slavery won an Academy Award. Okay? They always remind us of how what kind of slaves we are or were, and technically we still in bondage, y'all. The bondage we talking about being delivered out of, that's what this night is pointing towards, y'all. When we actually come out of this Egypt. Now watch this. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof, and as I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Now hold that spot. I want to bring this back up. They're going, I don't know, it might be my great-great-granddaddy right there. Or your great-great-granddaddy right there. That might be him right there on that ship. Look at this right here. They putting us in ships. What do you think this is a picture of who? What color is on folks, y'all? Okay?
Brown.
Okay? It's all ain't Caucasians. But he said we're going to come by ships. So where are we at right now, y'all? We in spiritual Egypt. Without a doubt. History, they're blowing it up on TV, y'all, right in front of our very face. So if you're unleavened, you see it. Reminding us we're still in Egypt. That's how you got to have that Passover. So when you are unleavened, you see all the leaven around you, you're like, okay, we're waiting for that deliverance again. The second time to come. We're waiting on that. That's why you want to die unleavened. You want to die full of leaven. But he said, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Now, I want to go to Deuteronomy. Let's back up in this chapter. There's a few aspects just to ensure that, I ain't dribbling off some, off the top of my head or honor it on my mind. Look what the Lord said if we didn't obey him. Verse 27. Let's back up in the same Deuteronomy 28. Look at verse 27. Now remember, the Lord done brought Israel out of Egypt and delivered them physically out of Egypt. But because if we disobey God, he said, look, verse 27. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emeralds, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof thou canst not be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Now notice he said, I'm going to smite you with the botch of Egypt. But remember, we was delivered out of Egypt. Or is he talking about hitting us with spiritual Egypt? Think about it. Right. Skip down to verse 60. Verse 60. This is the part that's really killing us now, y'all. Whew, scary. Verse 60. Moreover, he will bring, no, verse 59. Let me read into it. It says, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. Wait a minute, the Lord delivered us out of Egypt, y'all. Oh, he's talking about diseases of the Egypt we in now, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Well, look at those statistics, y'all. AIDS is a scary thing. HIV is ravaging our communities, y'all. It's so bad, you would think it was a black man disease now, when it started out with a homosexual. That's a scary thing, y'all. But if you understand how we in this Egypt, we waiting for that second deliverance, y'all. We under that, don't you under that blood? Look, that's a tight thing, a fearful thing to look at this and realize we still in spiritual Egypt. Therefore, he said, every sickness and every plague which is not written in this book of this law, then will the Lord bring upon thee until thou beest destroyed. So we're living in the days of spiritual Egypt, and to further nail that in the head, let's go to Ezekiel right quick. Ezekiel 31:16. Ezekiel 31:16. And I'm going to show you who in charge of this Egypt that we in right now, y'all. Ezekiel 31 and 31:1. Ezekiel 31:1. Ezekiel 31:1. Watch this. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the 1st day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to his multitude, whom art thou like in thy greatness? Now, we're going to find out that he ain't just talking about no ordinary Pharaoh, y'all. Because he said, whom art thou like in thy greatness? Now, I'm going to skip down to verse 16. Because it reads, and I made the nations to shake at the sound of his fall. When I cast him down to hell with them that descend into the pit, and all the trees of Eden, the choice and best of Lebanon, all that drink water shall be comforted in the nether parts of the earth. And said, they also went down into hell with him, unto them that be slain with the sword, and they that were his arm, that dwelt under his shadow, in the midst of the heathen. Now, verse 18. To whom art thou thus like in glory and in greatness among the trees of Eden? So how do we go from Pharaoh to the Garden of Eden, y'all? Watch this, y'all. Yet thou shalt be brought down with the trees of Eden and the nether parts of the earth. Thou shalt lie in the midst of the uncircumcised with them that be slain by the sword. This is Pharaoh? Wait a minute. Who's in the Garden of Eden, y'all? It was Adam and Eve. The Lord, who's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? Satan. So this represents Satan, y'all. And notice it said by the sword, this is Pharaoh and all his multitude, said the Lord God. Now, let's continue this. So let's go to Isaiah 30 chapter and show you what I mean by that. Isaiah 30 and verse 1. Yes, sir. Pharaoh was back there in the Garden of Eden, but he was in the person of Satan. Satan ruled the kingdoms of this world, y'all. But watch this. You'll see this. Isaiah 30th chapter. He said, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. See, when you take the Lord's spirit, you sin less and less and less, not more and more and more. But this spirit that they're saying is the Lord's, they say, you take on my covering, but not of my spirit. You say you put on the covering, but he said, but not of my spirit, that you may add sin to sin. Now notice this. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh? Notice it said they strengthen themselves in Pharaoh, but they call themselves adding the covering that they may add sin to sin, y'all. That's what Satan wants to do, continue in that bondage, continue being stuck in leaven. But notice he said they strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Yes, sir. The people are stuck in Egypt, y'all. And notice, this is how we know what Egypt is. He said, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's why so many different religions out here, y'all, because Pharaoh, who aka Satan, is the Pharaoh of the religion of this world, y'all. They got everybody in confusion. Everybody's caught up in confusion, y'all. Well, look, let's go to Acts 7 and 37. Acts 7 and 37. And what happened with Israel, the first trip, has happened to Israel now, y'all. Acts 7 and 37. Actually, we need to start at 36, sorry. Acts 7 and 36. Acts 7 and 36. He brought them out afterwards that he had showed wonders and signs in the land of Egypt and in the Red Sea and in the wilderness 40 years. This is that Moses was said unto the children of Israel, a prophet shall the Lord your God raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me. Him shall ye hear. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness. Yeah, the church started in the wilderness. Okay? Jesus just took it over when he shed his blood for us. Now it's the church of Jesus. Before then, it was the church of Moses. So it said, this is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us. But our fathers didn't obey, y'all. It said, no, she said, to whom our fathers would not obey, but thrust him from them, and in their hearts turned back again into Egypt. Now, what constitutes going back into Egypt, y'all? Notice, it says, saying unto Aaron, make unto us gods to go before us. That's why you see all these different religions, denominations. Christianity is full of about 9,000 different denominations, y'all. Everybody come up to you when you say you're a Christian, the next thing they say is, what denomination is you in? That's that Pharaoh, y'all. That's that bondage. And they said, go and let us make us gods. As for this Moses, which brought us out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what is become of him. And they made a calf in those days, like they do now, and offered sacrifices to the idols, and rejoiced in the works of their own hands. And that's what people that are in bondage are doing now. So we waiting for the Lord to come back and deliver us out of this stuff, y'all. Straight up. He's going to do it a second time to recover the remnant of his people that have escaped this stuff. So now, push on. Let's go to Hebrews 11 chapter. Hebrews 11 and 24. Hebrews 11 and 24. Because as we have our travels and we're waiting patiently for the Lord to strengthen us, to deliver us, those of us understanding how the Lord is going to save, or rather, change not. We understand God is going to save Israel. Israel is going to consist of a multitude, mixed multitude, y'all, like he did before. Let me show you that before we done. But notice this. Hebrews 11 and 24. By faith. Notice it said by faith. Moses kept, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer the affliction. So that's the only way you're going to survive this, y'all, by faith. With the people of God, rather than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, notice, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. Yeah, Moses knew Jesus. But he called himself Jehovah back then. Let me put that back there. Okay? But notice he said he esteemed the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt. For he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. Now notice, by faith he forsook Egypt. That's why you got to forsake this Egypt we in now. Forsake all the religious denominations. Cleave to this book. That's the only thing that's going to unleaven you. Straight up. You go with a book, people start asking stuff. You go to like, man, are you trying to put leaven on my bread? No. You got to put me in box. No. Said, by faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of the blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. And notice, by faith they passed through the Red Sea as by dry land, which the Egyptians assailing to do, were drowned, y'all. That's why when that great deliverance comes, guess what? Pharaoh's army ain't gonna make it through this time, y'all. Even the Pharaoh army of this day. Amen. Okay? Now look, let's go and show you this the spiritual side of this thing. Let's go to Revelations 11th chapter, verse 7. Actually, I need to start right now because remember, the Lord had Moses and Aaron stand before Pharaoh, right? Watch this, y'all. Watch this. He had Moses and Aaron the first time. We're going to see a repeat, y'all. We're going to see a repeat. And Revelations 11 and 1. And there was a great tongue. And there was given to me a reed like unto a rod. And the angel stood saying, rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out and measure not, for it's given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. Now watch this. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses. How many men were standing before Pharaoh, y'all? 2. Moses and who? Aaron. Repeat. Gonna be the same thing. Coming back again. Repeat. He said, I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy. Now this is a prophecy, y'all. 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. Now right quick. If you divide 42 months into 1,260 days, that's what that 1,260 days. How many days you get per month, y'all? 30 days. Remember that. But watch this, y'all. Let's get down to verse, we're going to keep reading. Verse 4. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. Now notice, and if any man shall hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth and devoured their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must be killed after this manner. Now watch this. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and they have power over waters to turn them to blood. Wait a minute, ain't that what they did in Egypt when they bring Israel out the first time? Why they got turned to blood? Repeat. Again, here we go. Again. They have power over water to turn them to blood and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. Because, like I said before, when you go look at what the Lord did with Egypt, the nation, it was just a microcosm of what he's going to do to the whole globe, y'all. It's a microcosm. But look, and in verse 7. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is, notice, spiritually is called Sodom. Notice Sodom and what? Egypt. We in spiritual Egypt, y'all. That's why this homosexuality thing is on the rise, because it's confirming the word of God. We actually live in the days of spiritual Sodom in Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. So now that we established that fact, let's go to Micah. I want to go Micah 7 and 14. Micah 7 and 14. Because the Lord going to show us wonders as it was when he brought our forefathers out. And if you are unleavened, you dealing with sincerity and truth, you see it happening. You just sitting back, waiting on the Lord, being patient, keeping on commandments, and staying fast with sincerity and truth. You trying to make sure there ain't no leaven being thrown on your bread. There ain't no leaven in your house. Right here, Micah 7 and 14. Micah 7 and 14. Notice what it says. Micah 7 and 14. Feed thy people with thy rod, the flock of thy heritage, which dwells solitary in the wood, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bethshan and in Galilee as in the days of old. Now our forefathers dwelt in the wilderness. The Lord took care of us. We read they dwelt in the wilderness for 40 years. Now the Lord could take care of Israel in the wilderness for 40 years. What you think 3.5 years gonna do? That's too easy. Compare 3.5 years to 40 years. So the Lord can do it, y'all. But notice, they're going to dwell as in the days of old. Notice, according to the days of thy coming out of the land of Egypt, will I show unto him marvelous things. So, like we read, the first time the Lord delivered Israel out of Egypt, he's going to do it again, y'all. Now look, let's go to Exodus 15 chapter and look at this great one of the great wonders, y'all, right quick. Exodus 15 chapter, verse 1. Because when Israel got delivered across that Red Sea, they sang the song, y'all. And I'm looking forward to singing that song too. Believe you me. I'm looking forward to singing that song, y'all. Exodus 15 and 1. After I might have to close, go on the end of that 14. Let me make sure that's right. Okay, now we're going to go to Exodus 15 and 1. Because we read at the end, toward the end of Exodus 14 chapter, how the Lord drowned Pharaoh's army in the Red Sea. And it said in verse 30, thus the Lord saved Israel out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. Now watch this, y'all. Exodus 15 and 1. When they were delivered and saved, this is what they did, y'all. It said, then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, because of they saw it. Just imagine all that water standing on the side, and you see the Lord pour that water in on them. You've seen it in the movies. It is a sight to see, y'all. So when that happened, they did sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he had triumphed gloriously. The horse and his riders had he thrown in the sea, and the Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare him a habitation, my father's God, and I will exalt him. The Lord is a man of war, and the Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his host had he cast into the sea, whose chosen captives also were drowned in the sea. The depths have covered them, and they sank into the bottom. Thy right hand, O Lord, is become glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, have dashed the enemy in pieces. And in the greatness of thy excellency, thou hast overthrown them that rose up against thee. Thou sendest forth thy wrath and consumed them as stuff. Now let's go and read the singing of the song of Moses in another land. Again, it's going to be a repeat, y'all. Revelation 15 chapter. Notice how we went from Exodus 15. Now we're going right to Revelation 15. The Lord got this book real tight, y'all. You got tight business, y'all. We the one that's real loose, y'all. Trust me. Lord business is tight. So we went from Exodus 15 chapter. Now we're going to Revelation 15 chapter. And verse 1. Revelation 15 and 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. In them is filled up the wrath of God. Remember, we mentioned the wrath of God in Exodus 15 chapter. But here he said, and I saw it as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, and stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. The only way you're going to get overcome is deal with sincerity and what? Truth. Notice. And it said, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God. Repeat, but notice this though, y'all. And the song of the Lamb. Notice, this time the Lamb is added on there because we just came out the Passover, right? Which leads you right to the Feast of Unleavened Bread, pie. That's why I said I'm looking forward to singing this song, y'all. Because it's going to be the song of Moses, the servant of God. And the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thy King of saints. Now think about it. Wait a minute. If you ain't keeping the Passover, which is the Lamb, how you going to sing the song of the Lamb? Right. Think about it. That's why it's so important to come under that blood, which kicks off the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So that you can show up in this day and sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the Lamb. Now watch this. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judges are made manifest. And guess what? When the Lord throw that blood up on the moon, it's definitely going to be made manifest. Let's go and read now. Revelation 6 chapter. Back up in the same book of Revelation. Because just like Israel had to throw that blood up on the moon, throw that blood up on that doorpost for the Passover, Jesus' blood is on our mind. The Lord going to throw the blood up on the moon. And guess what? We coming out. We coming out. I repeat, y'all. That's why there's 2 days to the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Revelation 6 and verse 12. Watch this. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. I want y'all to remember that now. The moon became as blood, the sun was put out. That's why we got to go by prophecies when you look at Revelations 11 chapter. All that whole count out to when the Lord come back is based on the prophecy, not on no moons, because the Lord going to turn it to a blood. So you can't go by lunar calendar on our way to learning something. But look, and the heaven departed and the stars fell unto the earth, even as the fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of her places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said unto the mountains and the rocks, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Oh, that's why the blood up on the moon, y'all. Because everybody else believing keeping the Passover. Boom, there it is. Now here come deliverance, y'all. We see the blood up on the moon. When this go down, that's how we know. Just like the Lord delivered Israel out the first time, he's going to deliver Israel out again. But watch this, y'all. Let's go to Revelations. I'm going to finish this. Then we're going right into Revelation 7 chapter. For the great day of his wrath has come, who shall be able to stand? Now in the 7th chapter, I'm not going to read the whole thing. The Lord here is sealing his servants. So let's skip down to verse 3. We're almost done, y'all. Almost done. He said, I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard, now notice, he's about sealing the servants of God, like Moses was the servant of God, and everyone that believed in being unleavened, because they did with sincerity the truth, are servants of God. Notice, he said, and I heard the number of them which was sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. We're talking physical, y'all. Physical Israel, and it goes, of the tribe of Judah, was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Reuben, sealed 12,000. The tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. and the tribe of Asher will seal 12,000. No, it goes down physical. We're not talking spiritual Israel here. But let's get to the spiritual Israel part, or the mixed multitude, y'all. Verse 9. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man can number. In other words, we don't know how many this is, y'all. It's going to be a lot, but we don't know if it's going to be 500,000 strangers, half a million people that are not physical Israel. We don't know. That's why he said, which no man can number, of all nations. I thought only one nation going to be saved, y'all. But he said, all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. That's why I ain't got to learn no Hebrew.
Right.
I'm like, child, please. I got to learn ancient dead Hebrew, really? And he just got to saying, a great multitude which of all tongues stood before the throne. And those, and before the Lamb. Oh. So that's why it's a repeat, y'all. Because that's the same people that got delivered out of Egypt. Wasn't it the mixed multitude that got, we read that, right? Mixed multitude got delivered out of Egypt. Same thing happening again, y'all. We stood before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hand, and cried a loud voice, saying, salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Notice the Lamb keep coming up. So that's what keeps out the feast of unleavened bread.
Right.
It's all connected. So that blood go up on the doorpost. We got the blood of the Lamb on our mind, which is his word. Now we just waiting for that time of deliverance at this time. Because this time ain't got here yet. Well, look, let's get down to verse 14. Because John, the Apostle John, was wondering where these come out of. And he said unto them, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Here we go, right back to the Passover. But we headed for the deliverance of Israel, y'all. This is a mixed multitude. Notice, and they shall, so therefore are they before the throne of God, to serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them, and they shall hunger no more. Neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb, which is in the midst of the throne, shall feed them, and shall lead them into living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, because they trusted the Lamb that brought them to sincerity and truth. All nations can partake of this. Well, let's go quickly to Romans. And we got one other verse after this. Romans 11:25. Romans 11:25. That's why everybody that did believe in sincerity and truth, their bread is unleavened, y'all. What's the opposite of sincerity and truth? Falsehood and lies. So when people start trying to add stuff to you, what you get out this book, that's leaven, y'all. Watch out. Watch it. You got to watch out for that leaven. That's why it's called a feast of unleavened bread, because you deal with sincerity and truth. So that when the second deliverance comes, if you died unleavened with an unleavened doctrine, be specific, you died with an unleavened doctrine, because everybody got some form of leaven in one way or the other, because remember, this body is full of death. Okay? So, but you died with unleavened doctrine, or when the Lord comes back, you know what's going on. You ready for that deliverance, y'all. You got the tools for the deliverance. Let me say that. So right here, Romans 11:25, notice he says, but we're not, brethren, that you will be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. Now, what part of Israel is blind is that part that's got leaven in them. Malice and wickedness. They lack the sincerity and truth, y'all. That's the part that's blind. And notice it says it's happened in part until what? The fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And watch this. And then when they come in, however many it's going to be, because no man can number it, it said, and so all Israel, they're going to be called Israel too, y'all. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob, for this is my covenant notice unto them. When I said take away what? Their sins. This is what the Lamb's blood is for, y'all. This is why you have unleavened bread. That's why your doctrine should be unleavened, so that it takes away your sin. You don't sin more and more. You sin less and less, because we just read, I would take away their sins. Okay? So now, let's go to the last place, y'all. Luke 4 and 14. This is our last place. Luke 4 and verse 14. This is our last place. Because deliverance is coming again. And all that's partake of the doctrine that's unleavened, oh, you're going to make the cut. Because your doctrine is unleavened. And he said, you are unleavened. So watch this. Verse 14. And Jesus returned, Luke 4 and 14. And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee, and they went out and famed of him through all the region round about. And notice, and he taught in his synagogue, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the what? Sabbath day, not Sunday. But 11 will have you going there on Sunday, and it'll have you ignore the Passover, and you don't be keeping no feast of unleavened bread. That's what 11 how you do. But Jesus, being the unleavened bread, went in on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, that's what Isaiah is. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written. Notice, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he had anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted. Watch this, y'all. To preach deliverance to the captives, and a recovery of the sight to the blind, and to set at liberty them that are bruised, y'all. Ain't that what the Lord did with Israel? Set them at liberty. We wait for that deliverance and that liberty to come again. So in between what he did then and what he's going to do, the doctrine you walking in delivers you from what? Being blind and being in the house of bondage, y'all. Okay? And notice, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord, and he closed the book and gave it again to his ministers and sat down, and the eyes of all of them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him, and he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears. So this day is when we're delivered, y'all. This represents what's going to come again. Like we represent on the first day, Israel got delivered. This day represents he's going to do it again. And those of us that are observing the Feast of Unleavened Bread now, we been delivered. We looking at all 11 around like, man, how you to do it? Because the people are in bondage. So we live in that delivered life. See what I'm saying? So with that being said, I hope you got understanding of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, why we have 2 days that are still called the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The first day and the last day. Now let me read Deuteronomy right quick. We're going to do a little drinking. We do got the wine. Correct? Correct. Hey, you didn't forget the wine. Anyway, we got to read this, y'all. Deuteronomy 14th chapter. And last question. Deuteronomy 14 and 22. Thou shalt truly tithe the increase of thy seed, and the field that the field bringeth forth year by year, because this got everything to do with the Lord's feast that goes year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of thy corn and of thy wine, notice, and of thy oil and thy firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. This is what we're going to be eating to, y'all. So we'll be found worthy when that great deliverance comes. The Lord throw that blood up on the moon. I've been keeping the Passover, Lord. My doctrine is staying 11. Okay? And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, no, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, notice, then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thy hand. It shall go in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusted after. Because he's talking to godly people, y'all. Notice, and we know within the confines of the law what that means. Or for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink. That's Jack Daniels. We don't drink strong drink. So, I said proceed. Or for whatever thy soul desire, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, because we're talking about his feast this night, the last night of feast of unleavened bread, and thou shalt what? Rejoice, thou and thy household. So this concludes the lesson, the feast of unleavened bread, the last night. Israel saved again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close out with Psalms. Face Jerusalem. We're going to close out. Here we go. When Israel went out of Egypt, house of Jacob, from a people, of strange language, Judah was his sanctuary, and Israel his dominion. The sea saw it and fled. Jordan was driven back. The mountains skipped like rams, and the little hills like lambs. What aileth thee, O thou sea, that thou fleddest, thou Jordan, that thou was driven back, ye mountains, that ye skip like rams, and you little hills, like lambs. Tremble, thy earth, at the presence of the Lord, at the presence of the God of Jacob, which turneth the rock into a standing water, and the flint into a fountain of waters. I read Psalms 114 chapter. May the Lord have the blessings of reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
Praise the Lord God of Israel.
The Alpha,
The Alpha,
the Omega,
the Omega,
the beginning,
the beginning,
and the end.
and the end.
The Lamb of God.
The Lamb of God.
In Jesus' name we pray.
In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.